Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 25 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. In this part, we're going to have to go toe-to-toe with Manfred Von Karma, who is the prosecuting attorney for this case and this case alone. And it's probably the reason why Edgeworth told Phoenix to stay as far away from this case as humanly goddamn possible. If anybody knows about Manfred Von Karma's ruthless nature, it's Edgeworth. More importantly, Manfred Von Karma has been undefeated for 40 goddamn years. That is a long time to be undefeated. However, it comes at a price. It was pretty much done by hook or by crook. Sounds familiar? Well, guess who taught Edgeworth how to be a prosecutor? Manfred Von Karma. In fact, Von Karma will do anything to make sure that not only will he get the guilty verdict, but also he made sure that that would be another win on his record, and also to control the courtroom from beginning to end. That is how ruthless Manfred Von Karma really is. And despite the fact that Edgeworth was his pupil, he's trying to do everything in his power to put the man in the slammer. There must be a reason for this. And that's one of the things we're going to try to find out today. I mean, we might not be able to find out now, but we will eventually find it out throughout this entire turnabout. But one thing is for certain. Mia will not be making an appearance possessing Maya, because Maya, for some reason, can't call her. Meaning Phoenix is on his own. He's going to have to stand on his 2 feet. And by the way, this case is without a doubt the hardest case in the game. You have no more wings. You have no more tutorials. You're on your own and you must pay attention. You must actually slow down and read and not skim through, because there's a lot of Let's Players that do that. You will have to do whatever it takes to get as much information as you can. And remember when I said to make sure you do not forget any evidence? This is the reason why. One of them at least. Because later on in this case, there will be a couple of items that will be available, and you're only allowed to take one of them. I'll tell you which one you want to take later on. But if you do not take that one, by the time we start this trial, you will not beat this game. Anyway, you thought I was kidding when I said that Von Karma controlled the courtroom. Bruh, this man is just sitting here nonchalantly giving orders to the goddamn judge. If Phoenix was to try to do that, he would have gotten a penalty already. That is how much the judge fear persecutors. And as I'm going to state this, it is true that persecutors are the most feared and most powerful things in the Japanese law system. So yeah, this kind of abuse is pretty much bound to happen, especially with veterans who knows how to control the courtroom from beginning to end. So the odds is basically against you. And there are going to be some points where if you make a mistake, screw penalties, it's instant game over. So all I have to say is, again, pay attention. And there also is going to be points where the penalties is going to be higher than usual. Because after all, this case was supposed to be in-game for the Game Boy Advance version of Phoenix Wright. But instead, the actual version ended up including, well, Rise from the Ashes. I meant to say Rise from the Ashes. Sorry. But, let's be blunt. This case is going to be something, if not brilliant, by the time we get to the middle of it. But as we pretty much gone over, where we got the overhead map, basically, while the murder took place out in the sea, Lotta actually filmed it on camera inland, even though she was camping out in the middle of nowhere. Well, basically right next to the crime scene. But he is practically... Well, Manfred Von Karma is practically trying to end this case as quickly as humanly possible, because he's pretty much in his mind that he has a witness, he has decisive evidence, and he's pretty much gotten this whole ordeal underway. Oh, and by the way, you're calling Gumshoe's testimony to the stand. You can only press Gumshoe on certain items. That's all you can do. Trying to present evidence anytime during this testimony is going to net you a penalty. So there are going to be certain statements that you're going to have to press. And from there, if you do, we can proceed with the story. And yeah, you're being forced to begin your cross-examination by Manfred Von Karma. But anyway, press the statement, but the next morning they found a body by the lake. And Gumshoe will reveal that there was a bullet lodged into the body. So the bullet will be added as evidence. Also, we're gonna have to press the sixth statement too. And by the way, if you come to this scene at least 3 times, Von Karma will stop the cross-examination and, well, the gavel will be slammed. So bear in mind that. So, we gotta go to the 6th statement, which is they had to arrest Edgeworth. And we will basically find out that there was a murder weapon involved, and said murder weapon was the pistol. And you were pretty much told to revise... No, Gumshoe was told to revise his testimony, and you're going to have to press him on that too. Now then, the gun actually has Edgeworth's fingerprints. Which, by the way, means that he did have his hands on the gun in the opening scene. Excuse me one second. Alright, I'm back. So it seems Miles' fingerprints is on the gun. Poor Edgeworth. He just has such bad luck. Losing the Phoenix 3 times in a row, and now this. So on that note, Robert Hammond's death is right now on Edgeworth's hands. And it turns out the bullet that was in the body of Robert Hammond was fired from the very gun. Now, I want you to also pay attention to the pistol. That's going to be put into the, that's going to be put into evidence. Also, that line about the ballistic markings, that was supposed to be Phoenix who said he didn't know anything about ballistic markings. But, and that only happens in the anime, but in the game, it's Maya that's the one that's confused about ballistic markings. And that explanation right there also is going to be important for later on. And since Von Karma mentioned something about the bullet didn't hit bone, well, we at least know that a bullet's not going to explode until it hits bone. And unfortunately for Phoenix, this is not a good look on Edgeworth. So now, we were about to at least have a guilty verdict right then and there. However, Manfred Von Karma will call a 10-minute recess. Wait. He literally forced a 10-minute recess in the court. Wow. Oh, good lord, man. Von Karma literally just took control of this whole trial. And by God, it's gonna be fantastic to take this guy down. Just saying. But here's the thing, folks. We're about to come to a crossroads. And by crossroads, there is going to be a choice that's going to make or break your case later on in this part, this episode, this day. And in order for us to actually get that done, we have to go through this flashback, primarily. And Edgeworth is pretty much saying that he didn't kill him. Of course he didn't. And meanwhile, he did mention that the guy was in front of him, and he was in the boat. He did get shot and fell off. We honestly didn't know who did it. We'll soon find out. We still have to do a lot of investigation, but we need to have an opportunity, and we need to make that opportunity. But unfortunately, things are not looking good. Maya still can't contact Mia. And now here's the choice. Say no, I need you here, because if you say yeah, you're useless, guess what? Game over. I kid you not. Maya will not be present because she'll be sad, and there'll be a certain point where you need her, and she will not be there, and unfortunately that will mean Edgeworth is royally screwed. So, with that said, Phoenix just also almost jinxed his own case. And the last thing Edgeworth needs is for this case to be jinxed. Speaking of the last thing anybody needs, oh God, I just realized who Von Karma's first witness is. Oh dear Lord, he's calling her, isn't he? God help us all.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
No, I'm not kidding. He really did fucked up. For everybody's sanity, we hope we could get this over with, but it's Lotta Hart. She may think she sounds intelligent, but no, she's dumb as hell. So on that note, let's go on ahead and breeze through her testimony. But bear in mind one thing. Do not present on any of the statements that she make at this point. You're gonna have to actually press those statements, save for the first one. Pressing the first statement actually, would be a penalty towards you, but anything else, or at least would be Von Karma ridiculing you, one of the two. No, I think Von Karma ridicules you. But after the first statement, you press every one of them. And that's all you need to do. Because it's going to have a forced cutscene, but yes, this is the hardest case in the game. Because there's higher penalty costs because of who you're facing. But more importantly, there are instant game over moments. So yeah, that is really a tough case. So, the photo we just got will be accepted as evidence. Actually, no, this is the photo that's already in the court records. Never mind. And he also mentioned something about, I will remove people from the courtroom if he does not have order. Remember that, because that's going to come into play. So, if you continue to listen towards Manfred Von Karma's claim, he said that there was no other boats in the dock, so Miles had the only boat out at night. Chances are that the boat actually was already moved before this whole case started, but we won't know that for sure. One thing that is sure, you can't really tell if it's Edgeworth on the pistol or not, because Lotta Hart ran away like a dumbass before you could actually see the film. And Von Karma is destined and he's determined to try to put Edgeworth in jail. Alright, but I will tell you this. He will put you in contempt of court if you do anything to fuck up this case. Now, that means if you try to press evidence, I think that may be an instant game over. So just say I think there was. I think there wasn't, meaning you're not going to get that cross-examination. But if I'm not mistaken, if you press the first statement, you'll be ridiculed. But press anything unnecessary towards those statements, I'm pretty sure it's probably either going to be an automatic game over or you're going to suffer a heavy penalty. One of the two. So, if I were you, I would pay attention to her statements and press them. Well, press everything but the first one. So on that note, you're taking a huge gamble, because being held in contempt means you are going to be held in custody until the trial is over, or at least until the judge decides that you're done with contempt, which is more than likely going to be like 3 or 4 days. So on that note, that first line you skip, but every line after that, if you're given a chance, press it. And this line that I just pressed, you'll have to press further. So press further on the statement about her research. But before you can do so, and I like the sound of his voice, by the way, before you can actually press any further, Von Karma stops you right then and there and mentions something about the question of her research being irrelevant, and he even tried to say objections abstain before the judge does. Jesus Christ! The judge is literally useless in this trial. So, let's press this statement, which is why I'm cycling through them, ladies and gentlemen. I'm cycling through them to count the statements before I actually make any movements. Because if I actually skip a statement, I may skip out on testimony. Or may end up leading myself into a game over, one of the two. Press that statement too. Because the statement about her looking into the, looking into the water and sawing two gents, you might want to press that statement. And by the way, what window is she talking about? Her van window? Because those windows are tinted, you know. And Phoenix mentions something about her clearly seeing them in. Which, by the way, the pictures are not clear. You are a lying person. So basically, she's trying to deny that she saw the two. No, she's trying to lie and say that she saw the two men where she clearly couldn't. And every time you try to find a contradiction, he's quick to pretty much object to it. So, press this statement too. And the more you try to press forward, further, the more that it'll be revealed that Von Karma literally controls this witness. But poor Phoenix. He is trying so hard to find a contradiction, but before he could bust Lotta into lying, he just gets deterred at every state. Let's see. Let's press this last statement, and that's going to make things go even faster. And we're gonna have to press harder here. And she also mentioned something about scanning the whole lake, which is something she can't do. Not with a camera. So with that said, Manfred Von Karma once again stops you from questioning. And once again, Manfred Von Karma uses his powers to push objection sustained. Jesus Christ! It's not even that! Manfred Von Karma kept him from, it seems Manfred Von Karma pretty much kept him from finding any contradictions. Oh, and he mentioned something about putting Phoenix in contempt of court. But there's not much he could say to question anybody. So before the judge make a decision, well, I wish we could help, but I think Edgeworth is pretty much screwed. Uh-oh. That hold it was literally from Maya. Maya is practically calling out Lotta Hart. And rightfully so, because Lotta is absolutely lying through her teeth. She knows that Maya couldn't see her, and she's even getting hit in the face with the truth. I mean, Maya could be a really good lawyer if she actually trained, but unfortunately, she doesn't if Spirit of Justice says otherwise, because she ends up becoming a full-on spirit medium. But whatever the case, she has been warned not to make any outbursts, but that means Phoenix is about to be held in contempt. However, it was Maya that was making the outburst, so if you chose that she wasn't useless, Maya would not even accompany you in the court, and Phoenix will try to make the outburst, and he'll end up being in contempt, which gives you the bad ending, as in a game over. So, with that said, Lotta accidentally let something slip that would force me to have to change her testimony. So on that note, we're gonna get to the bottom of this and we'll actually get the testimony. And Karma ends up mentioning something about Phoenix being in contempt of court. However, this will be the one time the judge actually stands against Von Karma in this trial. Oh yes! It's about time, because Lotta made an idiotic move and let something slip, which means she has to change his testimony. And pretty much Maya took one for the team. If it wasn't for her, this game would have already been over. But that's the first of 2 instant game overs in this day. Dear God have mercy, there's a lot of them in the later days. Well, in the later trial, actually, so you gotta bear in mind that. So, Von Karma will mention something about not badgering the witness. And here's the thing that you need to understand. That one statement that she said about her seeing it clear as day that the man on the boat is Mr. Edgeworth, it would be in your best interest to either, one, push the lake photo against her, or the camera against her. Because, if you press the statement, you want to know how much penalty you're going to be getting? Half of a bar. So bear that in mind. We can either, like I said, press the picture or press the camera. And it turns out the camera's the best. Well, the camera's the best way, or should I say the photo? No, it is the photo. Never mind, I made a mistake. Almost cost you an automatic game over anyway, but if you press that photo against the statement, instead of pressing the statement, you're going to at least find out that there was no way in hell that Lotta would actually be able to take a picture in a professionally filmed camera when Lake Gordy tends to fog up every time that the condensation gets too high. So therefore, she didn't see a damn thing. And now... Wait, hold on. Did he just said for her not to say, uh-oh? Yeah, that is true that he does rig evidence. And this is one of those cases. Yep. Manfred Von Karma has screwed up and we've got ourselves some leverage, finally. Yeah, 28 minutes of having a one-sided battle is not good for your heart here. But in the next episode, hopefully we could turn this case around, and hopefully we could get ourselves another advantage, so we could probably defeat Von Karma in this trial. See you guys next time.